Hello everybody, once again it is Ran, and once again we are playing with fans. It looks like the two from before, in the last video, actually wanted me to play with them in a full pre-made party, for Domination. And I said, why not? And we decided to do that. And, this is the result, another Hades game, because Hades. This time we're going up against a Muzen Cobb tier, a Thor, a Zeus, and a Fen. And this actually made me want to tell them about my aspects of why there are things that need to be things. Predominantly, we were talking back and forth about what makes a person a tank. Personally, it is the fact that they are assigned as a tank. Mostly Tyr and Fenrir and Thor, they can be built tanky, but they are not tanks, which was what that discussion was about. But yeah, we're playing another game of Hades, and we're playing with a Kali, a Hebo, Shibalanke, and a Monkey, to be exact, Sunwoo.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Nice job. An enemy has lost the right arm.
And it is actually a pretty good convenience that we chose those. Mostly because since we have Shibalanke as a carry, it meant that it gave me the full possibility of just going in every time on the enemy. Just every time, full combo.
Your team is capturing the cover.
Plus, with a Hebo, that gave us movement speed to do things, which made it easier for me to deal with the enemy. And seeing that I was dealing with a Zeus, and at the start, the trick to using their full power before the enemy has the time to build defenses to it is to get a Bane's Proc directly after you get your cooldown going. I actually had the full capability of being able to nuke him faster than normal. But I guess this Zeus was actually pretty used to his combos, because sooner or later in the video there will be a scene of me defending left, and with my team not having rotated yet before I died, so I could have gotten the pickup on my own kills. Also, that happened. Now, I know that at the time I casted that skill, I was not in the ground yet, so I was not out of the world for him to pull me, but how do you pull somebody who's going into Hades Ultimate like that? I can't figure out how that one works. But as I think about it, I'm like, who cares? But honestly, when it gets down to it, I do. Because it's when you see plays like this that make you think, oh, it's gotta be just more than that, right? Because a lot of people seem to not understand how very powerful things like that is. And what I'm speaking of is actually the disable states. And I actually have compiled a list that's going to be going into a project of mine, which is going to be entitled How to Smite, a full tutorial series of Smite the game. Something to that effect. And one of the things that I covered that I had to research before I began filming and getting people who could help me with this project work was figuring out what is and what isn't a disable state. And in my research, I discovered that Hades' ultimate is actually, it's actually hard to consider even if it is a real disable state or not, because things happen in it.
An ally has been slain.
And a lot of the things that happen in it, I can't even begin to explain to you, but basically, it's a dragging effect, right? It's a dragging effect that holds the enemy in place with a weak gravitational pull. It's not a cripple, so dashes and teleports can still be able to move to get the hell out of it. But, for some odd reason, it has enough force to hold people in place so that they cannot move until it's over. Unless they use some type of CC clearing to get themselves out of the slowing area and the area of debuff movement. I can't understand really what to call it, so really the only thing I can call it is Pillar. But Pillar is so useful in so many ways, I can't even begin to explain to you, really. Especially when it comes down to big plays that are made when you have a Bancroft's Talisman. Just the healing on Devourer's Souls is a good example of that, because it's used to chain up after you do things. And right here is going to be that time I was talking about, where no, I don't think this is the one. No, this isn't the one. But as you can see there, that's basically what Pillar does. For those of you who may have never played Hades to know. It's very interesting to see, because it's not really anything that you can teach you about.
An enemy has been slain.
It's really hard to really define too as well, actually, when you think about it. Mostly because of all the times that I've played Hades, and all the times I've played Hades in the 3 bread and butter modes, Conquest, Arena, and Dom, I've only really gotten a good adjustment of his usage when I play Dom. I've only recently started playing him to master him on this main account. And it was one of the things when I was studying the disable states that I really found interesting. I mean, at the same time that it made sense, it didn't. But, yeah. There's not really much I can really say about it, further than the fact that Pillar, amongst the disable states, is a very, very special snowflake. Because, as a total list, there is approximately, a rough number would be 13 or so. 13, 14, 15. There are about 15 different disable states in this game. And they range from hard to soft. And when you think about Pillar, Pillar is a special snowflake in the fact that it is both soft, yet at the same time, to people who do not have the capabilities of using dashes, it could basically pass as a hard. But again, it doesn't have cripple, which is also soft, so meh. But it is very interesting to see him have it. Yeah, that kill that kill really made me angry because of how they didn't rotate fast enough. But, yeah. At the end of the day, when I look at the disable states, and when I look at Pillar, and when I look at Hades, sometimes, in a technical standpoint, I feel completely stumped. Because, at the same time it's good, it's also bad. But at the same time that it's also bad, it's also good. And then, when you try to classify it as something so that you can tell people straight up what it is and what it isn't, it's just there. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just odd and very out of place. And since I can't really talk about it without talking about Hades as a god, might as well just go ahead and talk about it. As some people should be aware of, Hades is a tank. By that I mean he is classified and is listed as a guardian, which are the tanks. Currently, all of the tanks are magical. Back in the old days of what I'm going to call vintage Smite, they weren't all like that. They were actually a mix of both physical and magical. Odin was an example of this, so was Vamana. Reworks to their statistical information, as well as retoolings of their skills, have made them more of warriors now. And the magical tanks of yesterday became the new premier tanks that made things happen. And honestly, if you think about it, it makes sense. Every single Guardian tank is a person who has a hard knockup on their skill. Has a hard, not a hard knockup, but a hard crowd control effect on their skills. For Hades, he has fear. He also has the special effect of his pillar, but primarily, Hades has fear. And his fear is on such a low cooldown once you get his, once you really think about what he does, that his basic primary power is focusing people out of fights. That's primarily what his power is. Also, I like how I just popped up on that guy. But right there, proof of the bread and butter. I dodged him with my 1. I hit him with my 3 to mitigate some damage, to get back some of my damage, some of my health that I lost, rather. And then I feared him so that I could walk away scot-free while Wukong beat his face in. You can't do that with Odin. What does Odin have? He has slow. Yes, it's a 50% slow, but slow is not a hard crowd control ability. It is a soft crowd control ability.
Okay.
Whereas Hades is a lot of AoE damage happening at any one time, to the point that I can machine gun it in a very suspended fight. It's just amazing how I can do it, to the point that it makes me feel a little bit OP when I make the enemy rage quit because of how good I am as this kind of tank. But that feels like humble bragging, so if I'm saying anything about Hades, I'm saying this. He's very there. There's no really one way of defining him as what he is and what he isn't. He's just there. And when he's there, oh boy, does he set the stage. But now that we have won the match, I have run out of time, sadly. And the only thing I can give you guys as a passing remark is the victory stuff and things in the menu. The statistics. So, for BonuStage Entertainment, I'm Ran, and I will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody!